Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 Origin Continent based on novel. So let's start. Infinite World. Amidst the clouds, a large serpent took shape. It was the infinite snake ancestor, sensing the cultivator territory from afar. 8 lords acting together. The infinite snake ancestor felt uneasy. Among the 8 lords, Yuan, Starlight, Mo-Man, and Luo Feng could suppress all life force fluctuations, but Wulan, Jin, Ming Huang, and Nai Jiu couldn't. In the endless primordial space, over 90% of ancestors couldn't conceal all life force. Any collective action would alert other powerful beings. This time, to intimidate the entire endless primordial space, Luo Feng and Yuan did not conceal their life force. 8 lords acting together. What are they up to? At this moment, all sides were on guard. The weakest of the 8 lords ranked in the top 20 in combat strength, and the strongest was in a league of his own. The 8 of them together could suppress the Ice Peak camps, 12 undying and undying existences, and 26 ancestors combined. The 8 lords made no attempt to hide, letting all sides observe as they sailed powerfully towards their target territory. Under Starlight's lead, they flew for about a day. We're here. Luo Feng and others arrived at the border of this territory. Southern River Territory, 1600 World Group, we of the Cultivator Camp claim it. Yuan directly transmitted his voice, echoing to all ancestors within this 1600 World Group, you must relocate quickly. If you do not leave, we will be forced to take action. In the endless primordial space, most regions are barren. Even if there are resources, they are so scarce that it's hardly worth the effort to mine them. Southern River Territory, resembling a heart in shape, contains approximately 1,600 world groups. In terms of world group density, it is second only to the cultivator's original territory. Outside the Southern River Territory is an extraordinarily vast wasteland. The flourishing Southern River Territory has 29 ancestors leading countless innate primordial factions, thriving here. They have long relied on this territory's resources for sustenance. The abundant source worlds of those 1600 worlds were originally their food, but due to the recent interception by Lord Luo Feng, they dared not consume them for the time being. What? The entire Southern River Territory, the Cultivator Camp wants it all. They demand we relocate quickly. The ancestors scattered throughout this territory were shocked, whether in their true bodies or dispersing, they were anxious. If you have not started relocating within 1 day, you will be killed without mercy. If you are still within the Southern River Territory, after 20 days, you will still be killed without mercy. Yuan's cold voice echoed in the ears of these 29 ancestors, and in the ears of over 230,000 world-level primordial lives. The threat of the 8 lords caused the ancestors of the Southern River Territory and the world-level primordial lives to panic. How could they provoke the 8 lords? The ancestors in this territory reported to the 9 emperors while also preparing to relocate. According to the demand of the 8 lords, relocation must begin within a day. They have been rooted here for so long that relocating in a short period is not easy. Many long-managed mines must be abandoned. The dispersed clans can only try to gather as much as possible. Some clans in remote places, if they are world-level primordial lives, can travel to meet up with their clans on their own. As for the high-level primordial life, traveling is too slow, they simply can't reunite with the clan in time. The 8 lords stood in the void, their might spreading in all directions. Suddenly, avatars descended, exactly the 9 emperor avatars of the innate primordial camp. The 9 emperor avatars gathered. Yuan, what are you Cultivator Camp trying to do? The infinite snake ancestor shouted angrily. Southern River Territory is part of our innate primordial territory, and you just say you'll occupy it. Ha ha, Yuan laughed. You innate primordial camp invaded our cultivator territory, wantonly slaughtered, devoured source worlds. Can we not occupy your territory? Yuan, you are going too far, the giant god emperor also said angrily. Southern River territory is a full 1600 world groups, and you forcefully occupy them. We indeed have over 100 ancestors, while you only have 8 lords. You don't need much resources. Wouldn't 3,600 world groups be sufficient? The infinite ancestor also said. Who says we lords don't need resources? Wu Lan sneered. According to you, you take 50% of the territory, and our cultivator camp gets only 10%. Nai Jiyu laughed coldly. Do we have to fight after all? The silent extinction ancestor said coldly. Luo Feng said coldly, this Southern River territory is just the beginning. With the strength and potential of our cultivator camp, even 20% of the territory is too small. Just the beginning. You intend to occupy more. The 9 emperors were both shocked and angry. A bunch of avatars, stop spouting nonsense here. Starlight Lord waved his hand, directly annihilated the 9 emperor avatars. As they vanished, the avatars of the 9 emperors couldn't believe it. The arrogance of the cultivator lords was astounding. After all, we have to fight. Yuan said softly. According to the original plan, they must absolutely control 20% of the territory and command all source worlds in the remaining territory. To achieve this goal, mere words are useless. They must fight. Because the negotiating objects of the cultivator camp are not only the innate primordial camp, but also the Ice Peak camp and many smaller factions. They want all source worlds within the domain of every power. Must display enough power. That's the key to advancing the plan. Starlight said, getting all factions to agree is not an easy task. Ha ha, let's have a good battle. Wu Lan's eyes were fervent. They have bullied us for too long. Jin said. His primordial destruction path and Luo Feng's primordial blade path are very different. Luo Feng's primordial blade path, destruction occupies 87%, life occupies 13%, and the life mysteries include life chi mechanism, life cutting, life entanglement, and other components. The mysteries derived from destruction focus on the pursuit of power. Jin's primordial destruction path, whether in terms of destruction or life, is vastly different from Luo Feng's, naturally forming a different Dao. Even while pursuing a similar Dao, different lords ultimately grasp different Dao. The innate primordial camp also senses our threat, so their battle formations prioritize survival and complement destruction, making them even more difficult to deal with, said Starlight, envisioning part of the future. Luo Feng and the others also knew. Among the ancestors, there are those skilled in life, defense, domain, immortality, world, and other powers. Once a defensive system is constructed with these ancestors at the core, the survival ability of the ancestors' battle formations will greatly increase. In the past, they relied on their absolute numerical superiority and disdainfully ignored defensive battle formations, focusing on aggressive offense, said Mo Man with a laugh. It forced us to be cautious, defending with all our might. Even so, we suffered defeat after defeat, with world groups falling one after another. Fortunately, the lords were undying and immortal, and even when a world group fell, they could quickly recover and gather to fight again. In the past, even ignoring their defensive formations, killing an ancestor was not easy for us, Jin lamented. Now it's different, said Yuan. The attending lords looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, it will depend on you when the time comes, said Ming Huang with a smile. During sparring, they had witnessed the terrifying power of that blade. All things can be cut, unbreakable. Luo Feng's power surpasses limits. They cannot foretell Luo Feng's future. This time, Luo Feng will give them some surprises, said Starlight. What he didn't say was that even he couldn't foresee Luo Feng's future, only inferring some information from Luo Feng's influence on countless future timelines. This time, we need to not only shock the innate primordial camp, but also intimidate other forces. Luo Feng understood this point. In this battle, he would cooperate with the battle formation with all his might, unleashing his utmost power. Within the Southern River Territory, a world-level primordial life was flying and collecting a large number of high-level primordial lives. Its body surface naturally spawned worlds, where those high-level primordial lives temporarily resided. Under my command, I've only managed to gather 70% of the high-level primordial clan, and there's no time left, the world-level primordial life thought desperately. I must meet with the ancestors. If I'm late and don't leave in time, I might be slain by Lord Luo Feng from afar with a single blade. This world-level primordial life immediately tore open a space-time channel to travel. Hurry, hurry, hurry. I must rendezvous, we must leave the Southern River Territory within 20 days. The innate primordial clans on the border of the Southern River Territory had some time, but the clans in the core region were panicking, their time was too tight. They had to ensure their travel, then, with the remaining time, try to take away as many resources and gather as many clans as possible. Ancestors, can't we resist the cultivator camp? Are we just going to run away? Many world-level primordial lives were unwilling. They were the first major camp. Just scared off like that. The ancestors aren't resisting. This chapter is updated by novelfire.net. Don't worry, the 9 emperors will lead many ancestors to face the challenge. We'll retreat temporarily. Once we win, we'll return, the ancestors responded one by one. The innate primordial camp was indeed gathering, with the 9 emperors participating. Many ancestors' true bodies were also in the fray. A total of 89 ancestors. It's the most perfect battle formation combination tested before. These ancestors, merely gathering their true bodies, took over 10 days. They took various forms, some beast-like, some resembling celestial bodies like stars or clouds, some akin to water flows or mountains, others humanoid. This cultivator camp is too arrogant to actively invade our territory, the infinite snake ancestor raged. In the past, the innate primordial camp had always oppressed the cultivator camp. This time, the tables turned, with the 8 lords occupying, even attempting to seize a tenth of the endless primordial space in one go. Though the Southern River Territory only consists of 1,600 world groups, in the eyes of the innate primordial camp, its value isn't much different from the original territory of the cultivators. After all, resources in other aspects are still abundant. Such a vast territory. Claimed, just like that. The resistance faction could not tolerate this. Those 8 lords even said that occupying the Southern River Territory is just the beginning. They find it insufficient, growled the giant god emperor. This battle will show them that we are the mightiest, said the inference fire ancestor, also irritated. This battle, too, was a show of force for the innate primordial camp. It was a declaration to all forces that endless primordial space, with their innate primordial camp, remained the strongest. Depart. The infinite snake ancestor, infinite ancestor, silent extinction ancestor, inference fire ancestor, initial, mother of spacetime, giant god emperor, black tide ancestor, primordial beast ancestor, and 9 others commanded the selected 80 ancestors in forming a colossal battle array. Rumble tilde tilde tilde. Under the leadership of Mother of Spacetime, they grandly set out towards the 8 lords. At that moment, forces from other factions within the endless primordial space watched from afar. They are coming. The 8 lords were also waiting, anticipating this moment. This battle, too, was a show of force in the 8 lords' plans. In the endless primordial space, every ancestor and lord is attentively watching. This imminent great battle will completely influence the future power structure of the endless primordial space. It's almost here. The 89 ancestors of the innate primordial camp were watching from afar, representing the largest power in the endless primordial space. In the long years before, they occupied half the territory. Now, they faced challengers, the cultivator camp with just 8 lords. The cultivator camp directly occupied the Southern River Territories' 1600 world group and also wanted to continue expanding, thoroughly inciting the entire innate primordial camp. For their common interest, they must go all out. Buzz tilde tilde tilde. A host of ancestors traversed over distant space and time, their killing intent surging to the skies. Kill. The twisted shadow of the infinite snake ancestor obscured the vast void. The moment they arrived, they didn't bother with words and immediately struck mercilessly, intending to annihilate the 8 lords of the cultivator camp. Rumble tilde tilde tilde. Spacetime twisted and surged. The manipulation of spacetime by the mother of spacetime, the infinite snake ancestor, clashed with the Starlight Lord's manipulation, mutually affecting each other. There was also a vast and powerful formation quietly operating, as if the whole world was subtly assisting the Starlight Lord. Spacetime manipulation, they have the advantage. The mother of spacetime and the infinite snake ancestor were startled. In previous confrontations, the gap wasn't so significant. Yuan's formation now has an even greater influence on the world. The mother of spacetime transmitted a message. At this moment, all ancestors took action. This time among the many ancestors participating in the battle, 5 mastered the highest level power of the life lineage, whether blood-colored, cyan, or green. 5 highest level life forces spread out, affecting every ancestor. Various defensive forces, undying power, power of the world, domains, etc., were in operation. There were 39 ancestors proficient in life-saving, who had coordinated time and again to form the best cooperative method. The many forces deployed by the 39 ancestors worked together as if they were one entity. Their domains are too strong, my formation can't penetrate. Yuan was somewhat surprised, transmitting, they now highly value life-saving methods. The innate primordial camp regarded the cultivator camp as a truly threatening opponent. Not considering victory, first considering defeat. Hence, life-saving was prioritized. The cooperation of 39 types of highest-level life-saving power caused the 8 lords to somewhat change color. Though each power was a weakened means of the primordial level Tao, the sheer number was daunting. Boom. 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 This group of ancestors coordinated with one another, numerous killing techniques directly descended. They abandoned many close combat techniques. For instance, the giant god emperor, primordial beast ancestor, and black-tide ancestor coordinated to capture enemies up close. In the last war, they still dared to charge into the battle array of the cultivator camp. Now they dared not. They abandoned risky techniques, developing numerous collaborative killing techniques. Various illusions descended, infiltrating each lord's spiritual will, but all 8 lords had exceptional spiritual wills, able to discern the illusions. Yet the mixture of chaotic illusions and real scenes also slightly affected the lords. Boom tilde tilde tilde, with Yuan's assistance, leveraging Starlight Lord's space-time control, this time ensnared many ancestors within the space-time techniques. Numerous ancestors found themselves on paths of time development, each timeline a complete infinite primordial space, where the self of the future resonated with the present self, affecting their power. Mother of spacetime, suppress his timeline interference. Infinite ancestor transmitted a message. With Yuan's formation assisting, and the Starlight Lord constantly burning his main battle avatar, his manipulation of the timeline is extremely strong this time. The mother of spacetime responded, she had done her utmost. Fresh chapters posted on novelfire.net. Attack. Disregard everything else, full force attack. While ensuring safety, various coordinated techniques poured towards the 8 lords of the cultivator camp. There were all sorts of invisible poisons spreading. A few toxins even penetrated all barriers, directly infiltrating the physical bodies and souls of the cultivator lords. Their descended powers akin to the end of the world. Either overwhelmingly crushing everything, penetrating with a massive explosion, or silently eradicating all matter. There were also invisible forces affecting each lord, their bodies slowly decaying. There were also omnipresent forces, exploding again and again within the cultivator camp's battle array. There were also attacks following causality, and those targeting the soul. Occasionally, there was extremely terrifying destructive power that could directly pierce through Yuan's formation. Although Wulan and Luo Feng tried their best to fend it off, there were still destructive forces bypassing them, landing on other lords. Ha ha ha, Yuan and Luo Feng's power has increased significantly, making it much easier for us. Indeed, much better than before. Mo Man, Nai Jiyu, Jin, Ming Huang felt much more at ease now. Before Luo Feng became a lord, under this overwhelming assault, their injuries would continuously worsen, ultimately leading to defeat. But now the situation was completely different. These slight injuries. Not worth mentioning. The consumption of my main battle avatar is fully recovered in a blink. Yuan and the Starlight Lord were constantly in a state of burning their main battle avatars, consuming about 10% of their energy reserves per breath. Yuan's formation commanded the power of the 8 lords, its might greater than before, reducing the attacks falling on the lords. Starlight's advantage in spacetime manipulation also made attacks on the lords weaker. With Luo Feng's treatments and supplementation of energy reserves, the lords felt at ease, perceiving it as merely some frost and snow. The attack momentum of the innate primordial camp cannot threaten us. Yuan revealed a smile. Let's show them our power. Mo Man said. Time-killing array. Yuan commanded. The 8 lords were very steady. Only after blocking the attack from the ancestors' side did they counterattack. Their move was one of the 8 killing formations they had tested before, the time-killing array. Vaz tilde tilde tilde. The formation was activated. Lord Mo Man's wave spread silently everywhere. No one could escape its surveillance. Sever. Luo Feng also drew his blade. The blade light was incredibly concentrated, like a thread of silk. Blade light thread and the power of time and space achieve a perfect union, also resonating with the waves. Under the rules of the primordial void, the blade light thread even freely moves across timelines of past, present, and future, rendering many defensive techniques ineffective, unable to even touch the blade light. In the eyes of the ancestors, they found this blade light attacking simultaneously from different timelines, untouchable. Can't see it clearly. Can't be blocked at all. They tried to dodge the blade light, tried to intercept it, but the blade light still attacked like an illusion. This blade light flows through different timelines. Unless all timelines in this time segment are blocked, it is bound to hit. Mother of Spacetime transmitted to her companions, everyone rest assured, the blade light can flow through different timelines, but to kill the enemy, it must return to the present timeline. Moreover, the blade light that can flow through different timelines does not carry much power. Sizzle. The blade light instantly descended upon the present timeline, slashing across an ancestor's body, splitting the ancestor's body in two. However, with the omnipresent life power, that ancestor instantly returned to their pinnacle state. The blade light power isn't strong, yet it can easily split me in two. Sizzle sizzle sizzle. The blade light of the time-killing array flowed repeatedly, passing by ancestor after ancestor. In just 2 or 3 moments, it swept through all the ancestors. These ancestors were somewhat puzzled. Split into two. With an ancestor's life force, even split into tens of thousands, they wouldn't die. Moreover, with multiple life-saving arrays working together, their survival ability had greatly improved. These 89 ancestors have all had some information gathered. Starlight transmitted, the power of the time-killing array may not be great, but its technique easily bypasses array defenses and gathers information quickly. Knowing oneself and the enemy better increases the odds of victory. Starlight immediately transmitted and laid out the plan. The battle between the two camps had Starlight determining the battle plan. Of course, even if everything was meticulously planned, the ultimate victory still depended on strength. Be careful. The 89 ancestors dared not be careless. Although previously the 8 lords mainly took hits and retaliated only with the relatively weak time-killing array. Able to split the ancestors protected by the formations in two, even though there was no loss in strength, it still made them wary. Boom rumble tilde tilde tilde. This time, the power of the 8 lords was noticeably more ferocious. The present timeline's momentum explosion was unrestricted. The battle arrays of the ancestors and the 8 lords, numerous techniques clashed. The impact of the collision also made some ancestors watching from afar uneasy. As predicted, the strength of the cultivator camp has surpassed my Ice Peak camp. Ice Peak ancestor looked from afar, wondering if the 2/10 of the territory the Ice Peak camp currently occupied could still be defended. Even with 89 ancestors working together, it's only equivalent to the 8 lords. Other ancestors watching confirmed the strength of the cultivator side at this moment. Suddenly, Luo Feng burned the main battle avatar, and the blood shadow knife in his hand suddenly intensified, enhanced with the power of destruction world, and slashed out instantly. At this moment, all 8 lords except Wulan burned their main battle avatars, and with the formation's cooperation, the full power was infused into the most sharp blood shadow knife in Luo Feng's hand. The blood shadow knife contained unimaginable power, along with the ability to cleave through all matter and energy. Sizzle sizzle sizzle. The formation of the 89 ancestors, though defensively strong, at this moment, the combined might of the 8 lords directed by Luo Feng, was enough to cleave through all obstacles. Even the coordination of dozens of the highest level powers couldn't stop this blade, all were severed. The blade light was too fast, instantly landing on the dark rock ancestor, protected within layers of formations. At the instant it struck, waves, destruction, thunder, life-cutting, all kinds of powers erupted within the dark rock ancestor's body, despite the many life-saving powers covering from the formations assembled by the 89 ancestors attempting to save the Dark Rock ancestor. But the Dark Rock ancestor was the easiest ancestor to deal with, chosen by the cultivator side through the time-killing array. At the moment the blade struck, numerous powers erupted simultaneously, instantly annihilating the hidden life core. Its body vanished instantly, pulled away by time and space. Dark Rock ancestor has fallen in battle. The innate primordial camp's number of ancestors reduced from 89 to 88, stunning these ancestors, and shocking the other forces watching the battle. Even being so cautious, an ancestor has fallen. The 9 emperors found it hard to accept. In a showdown between two sides, naturally, they need to deploy ancestors with formidable killing power. This time, among the 89 ancestors, 39 are adept at survival, which is quite abundant. The remaining 50 ancestors excel in various killing techniques, but in terms of survival, they mostly rely on help from companions. The first strike from the 8 lords is aimed at the easiest ancestor to kill, causing some unrest within the innate primordial camp. The Dark Rock ancestor was instantly killed. Will I be the next one? The protection capabilities of our formation are still not perfect. Some ancestors began transmitting messages. The infinite snake ancestor felt a tremor in his heart. He understood. When gathering the ancestors, it was to make everyone feel that the battle array this time was perfectly coordinated, at least very strong in survival capabilities. Only then did these ancestors willingly join the battle. However, once incidents of sudden death occur one after another, there could be internal division among the ancestors. We can't delay. Execute the killing move immediately. The infinite snake ancestor immediately transmitted the message. Logically, the battle between the two camps should last hundreds or thousands of eras, which is normal. The original plan was to learn more about the strengths and weaknesses of the Eight Lords before using killing moves. Rushing to use them may not be as effective. But the situation changed too quickly, there was no time to consider. The infinite snake ancestor instantly transformed into a massive phantom, completely ethereal, no one could block it, and its enormous body encompassed all ancestors and the Eight Lords. Then, the ethereal infinite snake ancestor suddenly solidified. Its enormous snake body naturally wrapped around Yuan. Yuan was trapped inside the snake's belly. First ethereal, then solidified. This is the infinite snake ancestor's move for trapping enemies. Across the endless primordial space, there are very few who can escape its trapping technique. The faces of Luo Feng and the other 7 lords slightly changed. Yuan, suddenly trapped within the infinite snake ancestor. Inside, the infinite snake ancestor's body suddenly erupted with terrifying fluctuations. Endless light. Endless might. This attack was a combined killing move, executed by the infinite snake ancestor and the infinite ancestor. After the infinite ancestor broke through to the undying and undying level, it also realized a burst technique similar to Luo Feng's origin Great Destruction. Such burst techniques can only be used once one achieves undying and undying. It was omnipresent. Not blocked by the infinite snake ancestor, it naturally appeared instantly within the infinite snake ancestor, close to Yuan. Inside the snake body, Yuan was unable to escape, and could only watch helplessly as the infinite ancestor appeared, transforming into an incredibly dazzling light. This dazzling light tore apart and destroyed everything, even with formation blocking. Ultra-close range still meant it was torn apart and pulverized, the body was crushed and annihilated. The cultivator camp's 8 lords, Yuan and Luo Feng, are key points. Without Yuan, their coordination would be much worse, severely reducing their strength. They simply cannot withstand our attack. Without Luo Feng, their threat level will rapidly decline. The innate primordial camp had long understood this reasoning. To defeat the cultivator camp, the first key is Yuan, the second key is Luo Feng, and only then does Starlight come into play. If any of the 3 are eliminated, the frontal war can be won. Boom. Accompanied by Yuan's body's annihilation, the immense battle array offensive from the other ancestors in the innate primordial camp also enveloped them. Beside Luo Feng, as Yuan was trapped inside the infinite snake ancestor, a strand of Yuan's thought transformed into a weak avatar beside Luo Feng, and under Luo Feng's power supply, quickly grew stronger. As the main battle avatar was destroyed, Yuan's avatar had already swiftly grown to reserve energy of 30 to 40%, while maintaining the formation with burning power. Boom. Although the battle array was slightly weakened, under the assistance of Wulan, Luo Feng, and Starlight, they managed to stabilize the situation for a moment, allowing Yuan's avatar to quickly ascend to sufficient strength. His weak strand of avatar ascended to the main battle avatar state so quickly. The ancestors of the innate primordial camp felt a chill in their hearts. The key figures of the cultivator camp, arranged in order, Yuan, Luo Feng, Starlight. Luo Feng had naturally strong defensive abilities, unmatched combat power. The killing move from Infinite Snake Ancestor and Infinite Ancestor has no certainty against Luo Feng. Not even the infinite snake ancestor's body could confidently trap Luo Feng's blade. As for Starlight, no method to trap him has been found temporarily. Thus, comparing the three, Yuan is relatively easier to target. Second strike. Yuan quickly recovered to the pinnacle, and the Eight Lords unhesitatingly combined forces to unleash the second strike. With the power of their companions enhancing themselves, Luo Feng wielded the blade easily, slicing through the battle array formed by numerous ancestors. The initial ancestor attempted to block Luo Feng's blade with its body. Luo Feng was interested to know how his blade would fare against the initial ancestor's body, this spear and shield, which would prove stronger. But at this crucial moment, he couldn't allow himself to waste the battle opportunity. The blade light flashed, easily avoiding the initial ancestor. The massive spherical body of the initial ancestor moved slowly, unable to block Luo Feng's blade light at all. No. Another ancestor was struck. It was precisely the wind-devouring ancestor. The moment the blade light struck, multiple powers erupted. This wind-devouring ancestor had already dispersed its power into millions of winds, trying to escape. As long as one gust escaped, it could survive. However, invisible fluctuations spread, instantly obliterating 99% of the power. Furthermore, thunder, annihilation, space-time, life-cutting, and other energies simultaneously followed the perception, destroying all escaping winds. None of the millions of winds could persist for a moment. All were annihilated. As verified by the Lord's time-killing array, and based on the difficulty of targeting, this wind-devouring ancestor's survival ability was weaker, completely countered by the combined efforts of the Lords. With just one move, it was annihilated. Other ancestors had no time to rescue. The wind-devouring ancestor is dead too. Some ancestors felt a bit panicked. Third strike. Luo Feng and the others mercilessly unleashed the third strike. But the third strike failed. That ancestor's life resilience was stronger than estimated, firmly holding out for a moment, receiving rescue from other ancestors. 5 highest-level life powers simultaneously came to the rescue, and this ancestor also quickly grew stronger. The fourth strike succeeded. The fifth strike failed. Luo Feng and the other 8 lords continuously wielded their blades 8 times. Each strike was able to cut through the layered defensive formations, and although they weakened with each layer, the remaining blade light was still terrifying. The final outcome was that 3 of these ancestors perished in battle. We underestimated Luo Feng's blade. We had a total of 39 ancestors skilled in life preservation techniques collaborating, utilizing various powers, yet his blade still cut through, said the mother of spacetime. The futures I glimpsed showed no sign of Luo Feng. I thought, this defensive collaboration would definitely withstand the Lord's combined killing techniques. Luo Feng's blade is somewhat unique. The silent extinction ancestor transmitted. I vaguely sense that the blade seems to be the incarnation of the abyss of destruction. The silent extinction ancestor has the keenest perception of the crisis of death. On this blade, the silent extinction ancestor sensed the threat of death, feeling as if it was about to return to the great extinction. His blade also gives me a hint of threat, the initial ancestor said. The other 8 were all surprised. Who is the initial ancestor? The only existence in the endless primordial space capable of crossing the fire prison wall, able to withstand all its flames. Yet it sensed a trace of threat from Luo Feng's blade. His blade can break through all formation obstructions and strike the ancestor's body. Once he figures out more details of our formations, perhaps more ancestors might fall in battle. The 9 emperors understood this point. In the initial confrontation, neither side knew the other's formations well, yet 3 ancestors were killed. If the battle continues for a long time, perhaps 2 or 3 more ancestors might die. Is there a chance to break the Lord's battle array, the infinite ancestor inquired. I see no hope, said the mother of spacetime. Even if a certain lord is severely injured, Luo Feng can make his companion's avatar quickly recover to the pinnacle. The 9 emperors understood this point. Yuan, Luo Feng is the key point. Attempts have been made on Yuan's point, but they didn't even consider trying it with Luo Feng. The remaining 86 ancestors suddenly slightly retreated, completely reigning in their power, with the 9 emperors in the forefront. The 8 lords also temporarily reigned in their power. Both sides temporarily ceased hostilities. This scene also allowed the ancestors from various factions to see from afar, leaving them somewhat wistful. This time, the confrontation is a loss for the innate primordial camp. But it can't be fully considered a loss. The 3 ancestors who died were weak in life-preserving abilities, and the remaining 86 ancestors, the cultivator camp also can't do much against them. Moreover, the innate primordial camp still has more than 30 ancestors who haven't participated in the battle. The ancestors who haven't participated are mostly those with weaker strength. Various parties discussed intensely. No matter what, in this initial skirmish of the war, the cultivator camp held the upper hand. The many ancestors, led by the 9 emperors, stood distantly across from the 8 lords. The 8 lords of the cultivator camp, the infinite snake ancestor's voice rumbled, "Tell us, what exactly do you want?" Not satisfied with forcibly occupying the southern river territory, still wanting to expand further. Even if we occupy the southern river territory, we only claim 2/10 of the endless primordial space territory, said Yuan. And even though you've lost the southern river territory, you still hold 4/10 of the territory, twice as much as ours. Yuan. The giant god emperor spoke, after all, we have over 100 ancestors, and countless world-level and high-level primordial life. You, cultivators, have only 8 lords, your world-level and high-level primordial life are very rare, you don't need that many resources, so why compete with us? The giant god emperor was originally anti-war, but for the massive resources needed by the giant god race, it had to step up. I can take responsibility in yielding the southern river territory to your cultivator camp. The giant god emperor looked at Yuan, but you must promise not to expand any further. The infinite snake ancestor, inference fire ancestor, and others all remained silent, as this was clearly part of their plan. If they couldn't win in battle, they'd yield the southern river territory. Have us promise never to expand. Yuan gently shook his head. At least never invade the territories of our innate primordial camp again, said the giant god emperor. As for your dealings with the Ice Peak camp and other forces, we naturally have no say. Yuan, Luo Feng, Starlight exchanged glances. In the endless future, our cultivator camp may give rise to the 9th, 10th lord, or even more, Yuan spoke. For just the southern river territory, you want us to promise never to expand towards you. The southern river territory is already ours, and taking our territory to force a promise from us. What do you want? The infinite snake ancestor spoke deeply, sensing that the cultivator camp was willing to negotiate, but wanted more. Updates are released by noelfire.net. Yuan calmly said, our demand for resources is indeed not that high, but all creatures of the source world are our kin. Our requirement is just one. From now on, all source worlds within your territory shall forever belong to our cultivator camp's command. As long as you agree, we can promise never to invade your innate primordial camp. Luo Feng, Starlight, Wulan, Ming Huang, Jin, Nai Jiyu, Mo Man, and the other lords all nodded slightly. This was their collective decision. All source worlds. The 9 emperors and the many ancestors were all startled. What impudence, the infinite snake ancestor couldn't hold back. This video will end here.